All right, good evening, Peoria. My name is Andrew Nui, and you've seen me before. So earlier this afternoon, we had the opportunity to engage with some of you on the Civic Innovation Challenge. And really the focus has been to take action. Take action for the good of our city in Peoria and also for our region. And one of the things that has happened since the big table that has weighed heavily on my mind has been the lack of high-speed internet access for certain areas and neighborhoods in the city. And so I thought to myself, hey, we have the Nest co-working here in the warehouse district at 820 Southwest Adams. What is the opportunity now to democratize high-speed internet access? And so tonight I have my friend Yen Pei Tay, who is the founder of Simplify Networks. And really, I want to introduce you to him because earlier this afternoon, we launched a new high-speed free internet access onto the street at 820 Southwest Adams on our street. And we're beaming high-speed internet access onto the street as an experimental effort to provide internet access. You can literally drive up in your car and get something like 30 megabits per second up and down from our Wi-Fi signal. And so I want to introduce you today to Yenpei. Hey, Yenpei, tell us more about the app that we're using.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Andrew, thanks for having me today. Let me just take you through a little bit about what is Simplify. So we actually run one of the pioneering peer-to-peer internet sharing platform. Literally, Simplify is turning your personal hotspot and Wi-Fi broadband at home or in the office into a new internet sharing service. So imagine you have some extra internet bandwidth from your mobile data plan or home internet. You can download Simplify, install your phone, set up a Wi-Fi that gives you a unique SSID and password. And you can really earn extra income and become a leader internet service provider. So that's the idea behind Simplify.
And so I guess in our case, what we're trying to do here in the region is to democratize internet access, high-speed internet access for those who actually don't have it. And on one hand, yes, you can charge for that. And there's definitely a place and business model for that. But in the case of, when we're looking at disadvantaged communities and neighborhoods, we are ultimately wanting to share our additional or excess bandwidth with our neighbors and our friends who may not have that privilege of any sort of high-speed internet access, especially when now students have to asked and required to go to school online. That's going to consume a lot of data. So Yenpei, tell me more. Where have you now deployed this solution?
So we are primarily based in Malaysia, and during the COVID-19 lockdown, we have sent hundreds of routers to children who are doing homeschooling at home. Very much the same as the rest of the world. Many children or many households in Malaysia do not have access to internet broadband, right? Getting access to internet is so important today. It's not just something nice to have, but we see this as a mission critical, essential services that we need to bring this to the community, especially, right? And on the other hand, is that in Malaysia itself, when business reopens back in June, we are seeing tremendous tractions, from micro businesses who want to get their business online because they realize that after throughout the pandemic, it's such importance to have internet access to remain in operations during the pandemic, and also to allow their workers to get connected online and be in the game, right, for the rest of the coming months. in battling through the pandemic. So I think the importance is that Simplify is there to provide these Wi-Fi rental services to these communities and also micro businesses who have yet to sign up on a broadband plan. And what interesting thing that we see is that wireless carriers will not be able to send their agents or even the technician to come into your house to install Wi-Fi. Especially, you need to potentially hack the wall and install the fiber optic cabling within the premise itself. And how Simplify works is that you can slot in a 4G SIM card into the router that we provide, and we just query out to our customers or clients, and they can just plug and play. There's no configuration needed, no sign up. They can cancel anytime because during the pandemic, people love to have a non-commitment plan rather than signing up for 2 years contract, and you can just cancel anytime, just like Netflix.
Yeah, so I just want to very quickly demo the app. So then the question is, hey, what is the value of Simplify's app that's currently available on iOS and Android? And the reason why I say it's secure is because it actually has a Wi-Fi password. So it doesn't mean that anybody can drive up to your Wi-Fi and actually log into your Wi-Fi access. What they have to do is that they actually have to download an app, and that is the Simplify app, right? So here I'm just going to show you on my phone. So you download the Simplify app, right? And then you click Find Internet. So you're looking for the internet hotspot on the map. And so this is a live map of Peoria. So it says one hotspot nearby, because that's where we are at the Nest right now. And we just installed that in the front of the street, thanks to our friends on 820 Southwest Adams. And so what I would do is literally walk up. Once you download the app, you will have the ability to drive up, walk up, and just connect. You don't even need to enter any sort of password. So here's where it gets interesting. Imagine if you had one access point at the Nest, and then somebody else down the street has another internet access point that is on the Simplify network. I can walk down the street and wirelessly and seamlessly connect from my Wi-Fi at the Nest to the next Wi-Fi that the neighbor is sharing to the next Wi-Fi that another neighbor and business is sharing. That keeps your internet secure, and you never have to give out the password. So Yan-Pei, how did you even come up with this idea?
Yeah, I was like, I never thought of doing this at first. I was struggling many years ago as a telecom engineer to connect to different Wi-Fi network. When I was sent to different offices within the region, especially in Southeast Asia. And it turns out to me is that I'm carrying a smartphone, right? So everybody carries a smartphone, but it looks to me like smartphones are not smart at all. So how can we, the design challenge is how can we actually redefine the smartphone connectivity experience, right? Instead of looking out for Wi-Fi or even, to the extent free Wi-Fi, you constantly have to ask for password or looking at the password printed on the receipts or, so those tedious things, can we get away with that? I think from the technology perspective, being a telecom engineer for the last 13 years, we are trying to explore the possibility of seamless discovery of Wi-Fi and auto connection to Wi-Fi network automatically. So it turns out that that was the beginning of Simplify, right? So that's where the idea was born. And of course, this thing gets amplified, when I joined MIT Bootcamp with you, we were in Cambridge, back in Boston 5 years ago, I guess. It's a long time, by the way. And I was piloting the Wi-Fi sharing idea with the rest of the peers. And eventually, wow, people said, wow, this is a new sharing economy that, you should really embark your journey look into this, right? So that actually how to say give me the strength, I would say, and it inspired me to continue the journey until to what it is today. Of course, during the journey is long, and in fact, the technology that we are talking about today had been granted a U.S. patent just back 2 years ago, and we own the patent right now. And I think now this is a time that we want to scale this up and hopefully get more people to share and also potentially to sell your Wi-Fi network as an internet service provider.
So Yan-Pei, I want to tell you a secret about Peoria. So have you ever heard the term, if it plays in Peoria, it plays anywhere?
This is the first time I've heard this.
So Peoria has a secret history. The products and services that have been tested here and have proven successful have then gone on around the world multiple times over and become extremely successful. Caterpillar was founded here in Peoria as one clear example over the number of decades, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar company. So it is the same thing. I want to thank you for creating this opportunity for the application that we can now use to democratize internet access. And for those who are viewing who are interested in exploring this opportunity with us, we would love to connect with you. So our email is starthere@greaterpeoriaedc. This is a really small step for the idea of smart cities and smart devices, Internet of Things, and all the varieties. Yes, there's a place for grants and there are places for large projects, but ultimately we have to start somewhere. And so this is one small step from the grassroots efforts of, hey, with very minimal investment and effort on my part as a neighbor, as a friend, as a business, as a community member, I can do something, and I can do one better than wait for somebody else to do something. So Yan-Pei, thank you so much for your time. Hey, again, for everybody watching, this was not scripted. This is just on the spur of the moment, right, Yan-Pei?
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. You know what? I forgot to say, by the way, if you look up Simplify, was it 2016 that you guys were listed on Fast Company? 17?
Yeah.
So 2017, his company was listed on Fast Company's top 50 list of most innovative companies. So we're so glad to have you, Yan-Pei and Simplify, to just share the efforts that you're doing here in Peoria. I wish you very well.
Thank you, Andrew, for hosting me today. And it's my pleasure and an honor to see that we have the first Simplify network in the greater Peoria. And we wish that there'll be more people who want to try this out and then do your part to share and provide community Wi-Fi to the rest of the underprivileged communities. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you next week at the Whiskey Talks. All right, bye for now.